Let's go back to the mid-1800s, when America was still wrestling with its own conscience, and millions of men and women were legally considered property. In that world, one woman dared to rewrite her destiny. She was born a slave. She walked 1,000 miles behind a wagon train. She couldn't read or write. And yet, she would go on to become one of the first black millionaires in Los Angeles. This is the story of Biddy Mason, the slave who became a millionaire and bought not just her freedom, but her legacy. Let's rewind to the very beginning. The year is 1818 in Hancock County, Georgia. A baby girl is born into slavery. Her name, Bridget, though history will remember her as Biddy Mason. From the moment she opens her eyes, her life is owned by another. No birth certificate, no legal name, no rights, only property. As a child, Biddy learns the skills enslaved women were forced to master: cooking, cleaning, caring for animals. But her most valuable skill came in secret. She learned how to deliver babies. She learned the delicate art of midwifery, and in those quiet moments, between birth and breath, she was learning something her owners could never take: knowledge. It was a small spark in a dark world, but it would one day become her key to freedom. In 1847, Biddy's enslaver, Robert Marion Smith, decided to leave the Deep South. He joined a wagon train of Mormon settlers moving west, from Mississippi to the Salt Lake Valley in Utah. Biddy had no choice. She walked every single mile of that journey, over 1,600 miles, herding cattle, tending to the sick, cooking, and caring for her 3 daughters, all while still enslaved. Imagine walking that far, often barefoot, carrying your children, never knowing if freedom even existed beyond the horizon. When the Smith family later moved, again this time to California, things took an unexpected turn. Because, in 1850, California had entered the Union as a free state. Technically, slavery was illegal there. But laws on paper didn't always match reality. Slaveholders brought enslaved people anyway, hiding them in plain sight. And so, in a strange twist of fate, Biddy Mason now lived in a place where she was technically free, but still enslaved. Her chains were invisible now, but they were still there. By 1855, word began spreading. California courts were freeing enslaved people who could prove they were being held illegally. Biddy's owner, Smith, knew this. So he made a plan to move his entire household to Texas, a slave state, taking Biddy and her children with him. But this time, Biddy wasn't alone. Some free black residents in Los Angeles, including Robert and Minnie Owens, learned of her situation. They understood the law and knew that if Biddy could just reach a judge, she might win her freedom. They alerted the sheriff. In a bold move that could have cost them their lives, they stopped Smith's caravan as he was preparing to leave for Texas. Biddy and her children were taken into protective custody. For the first time in her life, she was standing not before a master, but before a judge. It was January 1856. The courthouse in Los Angeles was a small, dusty, one-room building. Inside, Biddy stood silently. She wasn't allowed to testify in her own defense. Under California law at the time, black people couldn't speak against a white person in court. Her fate depended entirely on the words of others, the courage of allies, and the integrity of one judge. Her enslaver argued she wanted to remain with him. Her supporters said that was a lie. After days of uncertainty, Judge Benjamin Hayes read his ruling. All of the said persons of color are entitled to their freedom and are free forever. Those words changed everything. Biddy Mason, aged 38, was free. Her daughters were free. The generations after her would never again be bought or sold. It's hard to imagine the weight of that moment after nearly 4 decades of bondage, hearing that you were now your own. Freedom, however, didn't come with a manual. Biddy Mason had no money, no formal education, and few rights as a black woman in 1850s America. But she did have something valuable: skill. She started working as a midwife and nurse, assisting one of Los Angeles' first doctors, Dr. John Strother Griffin. Her work was respected, reliable, precise. She earned her first real income, legally, and she saved every single cent. At the time, Los Angeles was a dusty town of fewer than 5,000 people. Land was cheap, and opportunities were open for those who dared to take them. 10 years after winning her freedom, Biddy made her boldest move yet. She bought a piece of land in downtown Los Angeles for just $250. That was the seed that would grow into a fortune. In a world that expected freed slaves to remain poor and dependent, Biddy Mason became a quiet but determined entrepreneur. She continued delivering babies, saving money, and purchasing more property, each lot carefully chosen as the city began to grow. She rented out buildings, collected income, and reinvested it. She built her wealth the same way she built her freedom, one careful, courageous step at a time. By the 1870s, her properties were in the heart of what would become downtown Los Angeles. And as the city's population exploded, so did the value of her land. In today's terms, her estate would be worth millions. The same woman who once walked across the desert in chains now owned some of the most valuable real estate in California. But what makes Biddy Mason's story truly extraordinary is what she did with her success. She didn't hoard her wealth. She opened her hands and gave. She provided food for the hungry. She sheltered the homeless. She visited prisoners in jail and paid for their legal aid. She founded a daycare center so working parents could leave their children safely while earning a living. And in 1872, inside her own home, she started a small prayer group. That group became the first African Methodist Episcopal Church of Los Angeles, the city's first black church. To this day, it remains one of the most influential black congregations in California. Biddy Mason once said, "If you hold your hand closed, nothing good can come in. The open hand is blessed, for it gives and receives." She lived by those words. When Biddy Mason died in 1891, she left behind something more powerful than money. She left a legacy. She had turned oppression into opportunity. She had built wealth not from privilege, but from perseverance. She uplifted others as she climbed. Her grandchildren and great-grandchildren would go on to live lives of education, influence, and success because of the foundation she laid. The city she helped shape never forgot her. Today, in downtown Los Angeles, there's a quiet memorial tucked between tall glass buildings, Biddy Mason Memorial Park. On the wall are words that tell her story, the journey from slave to midwife to millionaire to community mother. People pass by every day, perhaps unaware that the very ground beneath their feet was once hers. So what can we learn from the life of Biddy Mason? First, that freedom isn't given, it's built. She didn't wait for a miracle. She used skill, courage, and timing to carve her own path. Second, that wealth without purpose is empty. She used hers to heal, teach, and uplift others. Third, that every act of perseverance, even under impossible odds, plants a seed for the future. Biddy's story reminds us that legacy isn't just what you leave behind. It's what you build, moment by moment, in the face of everything designed to stop you. And finally, her story is proof that no system, no law, no chain can completely destroy human potential. So the next time you walk the streets of Los Angeles, remember that beneath the skyscrapers, beneath the noise and traffic, lies the story of a woman who once walked across deserts in chains and turned those chains into keys. Keys that unlocked not only her freedom, but the freedom of generations after her. Her name was Bridget Biddy Mason. A slave, a healer, a businesswoman, a philanthropist, a millionaire, and above all, a testament to what the human spirit can achieve when it refuses to be broken. If you enjoyed this story and believe more people should know about hidden figures like Biddy Mason, please share this video. Because history isn't just what S written in books, it S the lives we choose to remember. Thanks for watching.